everyone doing today? Yeah, I paused it out there. Good, good. Glad to do that. And to get my other banners up here in the background, because you need to know this disclaimer needs to be scrolling across the bottom of the screen. That these comments that I express here are strictly my own, not necessarily those of any organization that I may represent or agency, department, or whatever. They're mine. Okay. So I just want to get that out there. And if you're under the age of 18, leave this show. This is not a place for you. All right. Having said all of that, my name is Cassandra Williamson, and I am the Executive Director for Transgender Diverse Veterans of America. Got a couple of things going on. We had a really good meeting this afternoon with the VA's VEG, the Veteran Engagement Group. And that was based out of that's part of a research program that we had been involved in on and off for, well, actually not on and off, since its inception about 2 years ago. So yeah, we're involved with that. Some other really good people were there. Really enjoyed connecting with some of our friends from around the country. And there's about 6 or 7 of us all total, I guess. So it was good to be able to talk with the researchers from out in Seattle, places like that. So it's really, really, really good conversation. And obviously the big topic, it kind of fell directly right straight into Project 2025 from the Heritage Foundation. And so most people have no clue as to what that is. I mean, it's something that they haven't even paid any attention to, but we need to. And I told them, I mentioned to them that we needed to be meeting all the organizations that were represented right there. They need to be meeting, and let's get this ball rolling, because if we don't control the narrative, they will. And matter of fact, they are. So we need to kind of get the ball rolling here. We're not going to be able to match them in terms of their power in the country and influence in the country, because, you know, they've been doing that for 50 years and they put $22 million into Project 2022. But before I jump into all that kind of stuff, into any more depth with it, I do want to, let's put this up there. That's the website you can find us on. This is being broadcast on Facebook and LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So just go check out those sites, and also on the website too. I don't know if I said that or not, but it's on the website too. Go check that out and share it. Let everybody know we're around. All right, let's bring in some friends, because we've got some work to do, folks. There's a lot of stuff out there, and we can, I want to make this very clear. We do have a way to make sure we don't end up where Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 wants us. And their whole goal is to shove all the queer people in the United States into the corner, or under the rug and underneath the planks of the boards of the floor. They're trying to shove us all out of the place, all out of the way. If you don't think they can't do it, all they have to do is take the White House. And all they have to do then is issue all kinds of changes in policies and regulations, remove a bunch of words that they just don't happen to like. I mean, it must make them feel really queasy or something to say transgender or gay or lesbian or something. I don't know. It must make them feel like, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, but oh my gosh, they are out to get. And this may sound cliche or whatever. They are really, truthfully out to get us in this whole space. They'll do everything in their power to whittle away at any law or rule or whatever, anything that they don't like. If it's got something to do in it about minority populations in this country, guess what they're going to do? They're coming after it. They don't like it. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot to talk about today. So let's just jump into some news items really quickly. I'm going to cover a few things, if you don't mind. I do talk fast sometimes. Sometimes I slow down, but I talk fast because, I'm afraid I'll lose my train of thought. It kind of goes, wait a minute, there's white hair up here. We got to do something. Oh, no. Anyway, over here in the background, you see a part for my car. I got to fix a part on my car, but my car's still in the garage. If anyone was here this past week, it's been over a week now, but I had to buy another part. So by the time I get my car back out, I'll have put in about $2,500 into getting it repaired, which will be fine, which is fine. Oh, nothing on that car. I have no payments on it. So yeah, that's just the way it is, folks. So big news. First thing, big news. This morning I was invited to be in DC November 20th for Transgender Day of Remembrance at the VA headquarters, at VA HQ, or main office, as they call it sometimes, VAMO, main office. or whatever, different labels for it, but I'm invited to be there. It's an in-person event, and I've already made arrangements to be there. So I'm looking forward to being in DC. I'll fly out. Let me see if I can pull up something about it in the background here and just kind of show you what we're talking about. Okay, let me get this and just say, okay, give me 1 second. I'll share this particular screen and you can see what I'm talking about, okay? Shoot, sorry about that. Share screen, and this one, and that one. Okay, so yeah, this is from, it was an invitation for this Department of Veterans Affairs Center for Minority Veterans. Request your presence for a fireside chat with the Honorable Sean Skelly, Acting Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness, for the Transgender Day of Remembrance, November 20th, 11 a.m. Eastern. So I'm flying in on the 19th. I'll stay up on Connecticut Avenue there in a hotel, and then stay Sunday night and Monday night. And this is a Monday. November the 20th is a Monday. And I'll stay there for that event. It's 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central. They are Ashley, my friend up there, and one of our original founding members, Ashley Carruthers. Big shout out to Ashley for what she has done to pull all this together, or they have done. I don't know if they go by they or she. They, I'm not sure. So I'll just use they. They are very much into a lot of this stuff with the Department of Veterans Affairs Center for Minority Veterans. And little do they know that if the conservatives do win the White House, and all it takes is the White House for them, and yeah, everything that they're going to do, they'll be in litigation and all this kind of stuff. I mean, and they don't care. They really don't care, because they, you know, they're going to go after everything, including anything to do with minority veterans. It doesn't matter how long you've been around. If they don't like what you're doing, the LGBT office at VA, yeah, that too, as well as the Sexual Orientation, Gender Identity Research Office over at National Institute for Health, NIH. Yeah, they don't like that one either. And they're going after not just the words, but any attempt to fund research, grants, any grant out there, they're going to try to stop it. Because they just don't want to see these words. Oh my God, they feel so offended by the word like sexual orientation, gender identity, and particularly if I walk up to them and say, you're just a cis het person trying to shove your views down my throat, and you think that I shouldn't respond back, you've got another thing coming. Anyway, so I'll be up there at VAMO, the VA's main office, for this. I'll be flying out the morning of the 21st, Tuesday. So let me stop sharing that. Let's go back over to the main screen, and I'm looking forward to being there. If anyone wants to meet me up there, we need to get together and have some talks and conversations. I need to turn this into something that's really important for all of us. And like I said, I'm going to be in VA. Hoping that I can connect up with some other people there and try to get the message out, and try to ask some questions too. I do want to ask the perennial question about, hey, what's going on with this darn rule change? What's going on with that? We all want to know. We have inquiring minds. We've been told for a long time. It's over 2.5 years now. And many of us have put ourselves out there saying it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Well, it hasn't happened yet. But even if it does happen, you still have to go through getting public comments and all that kind of stuff, which they have not done. You know, and that can be 90 days to three months or so, 3 months or 4 months or whatever, 6 months. It depends on what Office of Management and Budget, OMB, decides to do. So, yeah. Those are some questions I do want to ask. I'd love to meet up with a lot of my friends and connections up there in DC area and just say hi to them. Hi. And let's get busy. We got some fighting to do here. We have to take it to them. We can't just sit back and one of my friends today, actually, Paul Nure from Naval Academy class of 85. I have to say that though, because I'm class of 84. But that's just funny. Anyway, insider stuff. Anyway, so we were talking about Project 2025 today, and in the little thing that we had with the VA's VEG, the Grace Study programming that we have been doing for the past 2 years. Well, we were talking about Project 2025, and she says, whenever they go low, we have to go down there with them. We can no longer go high. This is no longer an option. We no longer have the option to go high with them, because if we ignore them, if we turn the other cheek, they're going to beat the living crap out of us. We've got to make sure that we put a stop to that darn thing. Whew. And point out to the rest of America. See, the challenge is that we have to be able to point out to the rest of America that this thing is really bad for all of us, all Americans, not just us. I mean, if you go out there and strip away any way of identifying who we are, and for you, so much so that you cannot even look at the social determinants of health that impact particular groups, because you've shut off the research in those things and you can't get grants for the research in those things. If you shut all that stuff off, then you'll never be able to figure out or to find out, what the social determinants of health are that drive a particular population of people. And every minority group of people have certain social determinants of health that impact them and their well-being and their thriving. And we know that from all the research that's out there, from the research that we've conducted, from the research that others have conducted. I mean, we know that. But if you cut off the grants and grant writing capability that target specific groups of people to understand them better, then how can you actually help them live better if you don't know what the problems are? My goodness. It's a pack. That thing, Project 2025, is something that we can absolutely nail them to the wall with, because that thing is militantly far right. Militantly far right, folks. And we can nail them to the wall with all of the stuff they said in there. We need to be doing it rather than playing, oh, I don't want to talk about that today. Oh, no, we don't want to talk about that one. Oh, no, can't say it that way. Oh, you've got to be freaking kidding me, right? Anyway, let's go take a look at some news headlines. How's that? Let's go over and let me share another page with you. Hold on, folks. Here we go. Share screen. Share the window. Go there and there. Okay. So, start over here. Oh, our favorite person. Look at that. Look at that. Hallelujah. What do you think? Marjorie Taylor Greene. All right. Yesterday, she was able to persuade Republicans in the House of Representatives to go along with her request for an amendment to the appropriations bills that would strip away the salary of the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, and reduce it to $1. Now, we know that will not make it out of conference. We know it won't make it through there because and they didn't put it in there for that. They know that the Senate's not going to compromise with them on that one. That's not going to slide through. There's no way they're going to do that. But it wasn't for that, folks. It wasn't for that at all. The reason she did this, the reason this is being done, and she did this for Lloyd Austin, but the other one, Colorado, way over there, the Bobo, Lauren Boebert. Oh, I think it's Colorado 3rd. Anyway, she put in there to reduce Sean Skelly's pay. This person I mentioned just a second ago that I showed you I'm going to be listening to in November at the VA, talking about the National Trans Day of Remembrance. Really? That person reducing her salary to $1 too. That's what Lauren Boebert wants to do. I don't know if it made it out on the floor for a vote or not, but because that is blatantly just discriminatory. Blatantly discriminatory. Oh my God. Why on earth are they still holding their office? Are there that many stupid people in those districts? I don't think so. I know there's some good people in those districts. There've got to be. These people need to be cast aside. But I think what it is, they like this kind of WWE attitude of approaching politics. It's all show. It's all show. That ketchup, yep, that's what it is. It's all show. It's staged. But yet they like that kind of combative WWE theater. Apparently that's what they like, because this one here, Green, and the other one, Boebert, that's all they do. They just do stuff to grab headlines. Oh, really? Anyway, but there's another reason why they're doing it, though, folks. There's another big reason why they're doing it. They're telegraphing to you what they will do if they have power. You can guarantee that if they gain the House and the Senate, they're going to ram these things through. They're following directly from the playbook of the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025. It's there. They're going through it piece by piece. You can just watch it in the news media from the right side news media. If you follow anything like that, you'll see that the whole narrative follows the narrative structure that's outlined in Project 2025. It really does. And they're shaping the narrative in the country around these things. And what are we doing? Nothing. We're pretending it's not a threat. Well, I'm going to tell you, Heritage Foundation is a damn threat. $22 million threat with the Project 2025, folks. Come on. You got to pull your head out of the sand and look up around the world. And actually, you might get hit a few times. It's going to be painful. It's going to be tough. It will be challenging of everything that you think and believe. It will challenge you in your core. Pull your head out of the sand and stand up and say, I'm here. You're not going to take me down. Not ever again. Not ever again. We're not going backward. We're not going back into the closet. Period. It's not happening. You cannot put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Well, I mean, unless you run the film backwards. But in which case, you still can't do it. Okay. I mean, like I said, let's run. I don't want to get into the philosophy of all of that. There's a lot of philosophy around that particular idea. But anyway, you can't do that. You can't shove the genie back into the bottle. We're not going back into the bottle. I mean, no way. So we've got a lot to do, folks. You got to get your head out of your rectum to realize, this is real and very real and present danger to us. It really is. And Boebert and Green are just the tip of the iceberg, folks. They're letting us know where they're going with this thing. Missouri 4, the Congressional District 4 in Missouri. You know who runs that one? What is her name, huh? Her name was right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I know what it is. I can see it out there. It starts with an H. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. It's another one that's out there that's always, every time something comes out, she's been up there with it, putting out bills from Missouri saying that she wants to do away with marriage equality, doing away with anything to do with LGBT people of all types. And she has just been after them. I mean, these three, this one, Green and Boebert, and come on, that name up here somewhere. Where is it, somebody? What is her name? Good, no, that's good. It starts with an H. Hartzler. That's it, Hartzler. Jeez. Hartzler from out in Missouri 4. Those three would make the squad, basically, on the right. They're the right-hand squad. There you go, folks. They're the right-hand squad. You got Hartzler, Green, and Boebert. Sheesh. Jeez, what a combination right there. I've not met the other two. I've not met Green or Boebert, but I have met Hartzler. And I'm going to tell you, when I started asking her some pointed questions, I met her about 10 years ago, I guess, roughly 9 years ago, something like that. And I started asking questions about all people, representing all people. And she just got up and left from the table we were at. Vicky Hartzler. Phew, finally got her first name. It finally just scrolled across my eyes. Vicky Hartzler. Okay. Yeah, she got up from that table. We were in a strategic deterrence conference at it was University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg. It was a conference put on there, and I had been invited to kind of participate and join in. And, I mean, we sit together at a table. There are about 4 or 5 other people, but you know me, I try to give people room to talk, but if they don't speak up, then I'm going to. So I did, and I started asking questions about inclusion and diversity and how we're going to proceed with that. And I'm going to tell you, the look on her face was like, and she just got up and left. And the funny thing is, General Brown, CQ Brown was there, happens to be the Air Force, or the, well, who's that? The Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman now. Anyway, good people. They're all good people, really. Well, minus a few others. Anyway, so let's stop sharing right. Oh, no, wait, I was just going to finish the rest of the news. Wasn't I got so pulled out there with the right-hand squad. Okay, U.S. aircraft carriers and warships on the move, and that's a problem for Iran. That's 1945 news source, and 7 hours ago, and there we go. Mighty Ike has entered the Mediterranean Sea. Yep, okay, got that one. Iran, don't do something stupid. Harvard unveils advisory board to disrupt and dismantle anti-Semitism on campus. Need to do that for sure, but we also need it in the rest of the country. The rest of the country, there's a lot of places in this country where anti-Semitism is, I don't even know how it arises. I don't know where it comes from. Why hate another group of people just because you have something that you don't like about them? And even when you ask about what is it you don't really like about these people that makes you want to hate them that badly, they can't really nail it down, except one person did tell me on the show last week that, you know, they're the ones who killed Jesus. I'm going, okay, really? You're holding this kind of grudge now, 2,000 years later? Lord, how'd you ever come up with that one? Got a few marbles loose up there. That's what's going on. A few marbles loose, and I don't care how much academic crap you throw behind it to try to support it. I've seen academics support this kind of crap. We all have, right? It's not supportable. It's just not supportable. It's the type of ignorance that I just don't understand, folks. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, just like being decent human beings, maybe. Maybe that's what I kind of expect of people, even though I know in reality that most people aren't decent human beings, or not most. Let me rephrase that. Many people aren't. So what do you do about it? Well, one thing is you cannot tell them they can't say and believe what they believe. You can't force them to do that. You cannot do that. Not here in this country, you might somewhere else, but in here we have freedom of speech. It is not an absolute right. We all know that. It is not an absolute right. You cannot go around shouting fire in a theater or bombing a plane, train, or whatever, you know, or a ship. You can't go around saying those kind of things because, you know, it can cause real damage to the people around you, like, you don't know, getting trampled to death, trying to run away from something, especially if what you said was fake and not real. Yeah, there's no absolutes in any right that we have. None, period. And that's a whole other conversation about natural rights. And well, that whole conversation about natural rights is just ludicrous to start out with. There's no foundation or basis for that. It's just what you want to believe, right? Anyway, so I'm glad to see they're trying to tackle anti-Semitism on the campus here at Harvard. That's good to hear. It needs to be tackled for sure. Any kind of hate needs to be tackled. Any kind of thing that denigrates another group of human beings simply because they have some belief system different from yours, or something happened 1,000 years ago and you're still clinging to that kind of stupidity, then yeah, we need to deal with it. Need to absolutely deal with it. And I'm going to say more about that here in just 1 second. How about this story? This one is actually from FBI Director Wray testifies threat of anti-Semitism reaching historic levels. Yeah, really is. Yeah, we know that. And he says, I'm quoting right here in the little blue box. Let me increase the size. Maybe you should see it. I will say that this is a threat that is reaching, in some ways, sort of historic levels, in part because, as you know all too well, the Jewish community is targeted by terrorists really across the spectrum. Ray said before the Senate House, or the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. In fact, he goes on to say, our statistics would indicate that for a group that represents only about 2.4% of the American public, they account for something like 60% of all religious and faith-based hate crimes. Folks, that is just crazy. Why do you hate these people so much like that? There is no excuse for it. You have no way to rationalize that with me. None. That kind of thinking, that kind of behavior, no. No. Jesus Christ, folks. And yeah, Maybe you ought to think more like him. Whatever. I don't really care. But at least stop with this. There's no basis for it. There's no need for that. Oh my God, it's craziness. Really is. Really is. Jeez. All right, let's go on over to something else I thought was interesting today, too. This came out about 11 hours ago, and this is from Senator Josh Hawley. So from Missouri, no less, senior senator from Missouri. This is in Real Clear Politics by Philip Wegman, 11 hours ago. And I'm going to tell you, there's never been a time where I've agreed with Josh Hawley on anything. But on this, I do. We have common ground with this one. But you know what? He's not going to get any support in Congress from that, from the right or the left, because they're all getting money from these big corporations and things. They're just pouring money in there, unrestrained amounts of money, because they consider these corporations to be persons. They've assigned personhood to the corporations, folks, and Citizens United. Okay? And yeah, so he goes in and talks about that. So Hawley is right on this one, and I will definitely indicate to him I support him on this, but not on his views on attacking transgender people, or LGBT people. That, I mean, I'll carve out this one thing that he and I can agree on, and tell him, yay, pat on the back there, kid. Yeah, he's a kid, but yeah, pat on the back, kid. Whatever. Keep it up. I'll support you on this one, but boy, you go after the minorities in this country like you have done repeatedly, Mr. Hawley, then I'll go after you too, which I've done. We've actually sent press releases across Missouri and to different people about the stuff that Hawley is doing, attacking trans and LGBTQ plus people in the country and even in the state there in Missouri. And I know people there who have left from there and actually fled from there, who don't call it Missouri, they call it misery. Okay, yeah. I've had some friends there who had some challenging times and good times there, but some challenging times for sure. One friend was shot at in their car parked in their driveway. It was shot at, holes in the car to prove it. Another veteran like myself. Absolutely, it's horrendous, folks. Those are dangerous things. And that, that was in Missouri, and I know it happens elsewhere. We all do. We know that. All right, so let's just skip along and get out of that one, and let's go somewhere else. We'll stop sharing and go back over to the main page where we can see each other. And I don't know who's in here or who hasn't commented, but hi, everyone. Thanks for the thumbs up, and do appreciate it. If anybody wants to join me for a few minutes, and we'll go ahead and jump in here and have a conversation, you can do that too. I don't really mind. I'm not going to shut anyone out, unless, of course, you lack civility, decency, and respect for others and other points of view. So I'm not going to shut anyone out, but if you go in here and start spouting anti-Semitic tropes and all kinds of stuff like that, yeah, I'm going to shut you down. If you go in here in support of, Nazism and stuff like that, I'm going to shut you down. Period. I mean, you can keep your marbles in that little bucket over there. I know there may only be 2 or 3 in them, in that bucket, but you're not going to get to rattle that bucket around me, because I do not tolerate that. And yes, there are lots of things I'm intolerant of, and that's one of them, folks. I don't care to tell you. Hatred toward another group of people. Your desire, if you have a desire to erase and delete a whole group of people because you don't like them or disagree with them, then you're entitled to believe those things, but I'm not giving you a platform to shout them on. Whatever, okay? Yeah, it's just not going to work like that. Let me post this in here and get it up. So if anybody wants to come in and chat, right there you go. It's the link just appeared over on Facebook, LinkedIn, no, not LinkedIn, but Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. A couple of channels over there. And if you click on the link, it'll put you down in the backstage area of this, and I'll get to see who's there before I throw you up on the top, okay? And, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing right there. There was something that Jonathan Turley has out, his civility statement. And I agree with that civility statement that he has on his website. You ought to go check it out. I disagree with Jonathan Turley vehemently on a lot of things, but he said a couple of good things that I actually do agree with. And he wrote that thing about the civility statement on his website. That's another one I actually agree with too. So let's go take a look at what's happening on Twitter today. How about that? Everybody, you want to jump in and say hi on Twitter? I know I hear something beeping somewhere. Let's go check out Twitter. There we go. Let me go over to share screen. And there, and there. All right, so this is my Twitter feed here, and this, let me refresh the page so it is current. And yeah, look, see, I follow a lot of crazy people out here. They've got 1 or 2 marbles left, and I think the others kind of fell out one of those 3 holes, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 holes, 8, whatever it is that's in your head there. Yeah, 5. But anyway, yeah, I really don't care what Matt Benning says about this. But now if she's out in support and favor of sex change procedures for children, you are just trying to do what is best for your child. Absolutely, that's exactly why people are doing it. But the reassignment surgical procedures are very, very rare among children. The biggest one is circumcision done by those who believe that ought to be done. That right there should be considered illegal too. If you're going to ban all the rest of this stuff, you better be talking about banning circumcision, right? Somebody's calling me and I'll just have to ring, won't they? Let me put it on silent up there so I can just hear it in my ears. So anyway, altering a child's body causing irreparable physical and mental damage for life is what's best for the child, question mark, Gunther? Yeah, Gunther, let me see. Gunther? Is that how you suppose it? You know not of which you speak. You speak. I'm just leaving it at that because I like to just drag them into a conversation if they're willing to come in. Okay, and here we go. The Sebastian Gorka. Oh my God. If y'all know me, Sebastian Gorka to me needs help. This is who the left have become. If you believe in God and are a Christian, you are a threat to America. No, you're not. I'm on the left. I'm considered what's kind of a left-leaning establishment liberal over on the left. And no, no, you're not a threat to America at all, folks. It's yours. You believe what you want to believe. You just don't have the option to force it on the rest of us, okay? You don't have that option of saying that, hey, this is a nation that can only exist through, I don't know, Judeo-Christian belief systems. No, you don't have that right either. There should be and must be clear separation between church and state. Gotta be. But the left is not saying that. At least this establishment liberal right here. You know, I'm not saying that. Did y'all know anybody who's saying that over on the left, that if you believe in God and are a Christian, you're a threat to America? No. There are plenty of good, God-fearing Christians on the left. Seb, wake up. Come back to life. Come back to reality. I know you're a naturalized American. I know where your family is from. I get it. I know that you were born in UK, Great Britain. You know, and I know, you know, where your family is from. I get it. I understand that. I really do. But that is no excuse to believe this crap right here, to say things like this. Whew. Oh my gosh. American principles. Oh, here we go, folks. It's another one to follow. If you're on LinkedIn, you ought to go check these people out. I have one other I want to show you just before we get out of here. Just have to remind me of the time. The idea that everyone else must respect and adhere to one's preferred pronouns is extremely self-centered and narcissistic. Okay, let me just put it like this. That's a true statement. And you're going, really? Yeah. That's a true statement. I have no right to demand of you to use my pronouns. None. I'm fine with that. If you don't respect it, fine, that's on you. If you don't have that decency within you and that civility, the decency of being a nice person, then that's still on you. But I'm not going to worry about you, whether you call me whatever. I don't really care. Okay? I don't care. Call me whatever you want. It does not bother me. I'm secure in who I am, just as you are secure in who you are, or should be. I don't know who writes this stuff for the American Principles Project, but whatever it is, whoever it is, I have respect for you as a person, and will use the pronouns and stuff that you wish me to use. And if you don't want to be called Robert and would much rather be called Bob, I'm good with that. I'll do my best to say Bob when I see you. That's all we're asking. But I'm not going to stand in your face and scream and holler at you. Now, there are people out there who do that, and I'm going to tell you something. If you're one of those people, you need to take another look at this, because you have no right to tell another person how to think and behave. And if you're forcing them to walk on eggshells around you, then no, that's on you. Literally, that's on you. People are entitled to believe and think what they say, and they can, and whatever. If they say it out loud to you, fine. Your responsibility in that is either to ignore them or politely say, whatever. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. There are people who walk up to me and say, yeah, you're just a man. And I say, look, macro level, genetic sex is XY, male. On the macro level, I've got no problem with that either. But we're not talking about genetic sex here. We're talking about gender. And it is mostly a social construct, mostly. And the reason I say mostly is because there are factors that determine that, from that flooding of the fetal brain in the late second, early third trimester, 3 months before or after the anatomical expression of sex occurred. Those two things are disconnected, and they don't have to always match. Most people, they do. However, there is a basis for gender, but it's mostly a social construct. There is a biological basis for it, but it's really, it's more like you have a say in it because it's a social construct. However, that social construct for me personally is so strongly on the female side that, you can call me whatever you want. I don't care. I know who I am. I'm fine with that. It's on you. I'll tell you a story. I was out working on changing a tire on my daughter's car. On my daughter's car one time about 5 or 6 years ago. And it was in a little gas station parking lot. She had called me up and said, hey, can you come and change the tire on my car and fix it, and kind of fix it for me? And because I need to get whatever it was she was doing. So I went there, but I didn't change. I was in one of my little purple dresses. I'll have to show you. But anyway, it's a little purple dress. It's just above the knees, probably about 3 or 4 inches, maybe 5. I don't know. But I was in one of those little dresses. And so I go change the tire, pull the stuff out, and I jack up the car and lift it up there. And the manager for the convenience store comes out and says, hey, so just changing the tire of the car? And I said, yeah. And I said, I'm just doing it for my daughter. She wanted me to come and take care of this before she went to do something else. And she looks at me and she waited a few seconds. She said, so what's wrong with your voice? I said, nothing. I was born with that voice. No, not really born with it, but the mechanisms were there that created it later on during puberty, right? So that's just what I have. That's just it. And I'll be darned if she didn't go in the store and come right back out again and ask the same question again after she was talking to me a minute. She says, what's wrong with your voice? And I said, look, pulled out my driver's license. I don't mind doing this because it's so fun to me. I said, look here, I'll just show you my driver's license. Everything on here says female, right? Well, look, I'm a transgender person for one thing, but the voice is really, I've just given up on trying to do anything about it. I don't really care. I don't care what you think anymore about that voice. There was a time when I did, but I'm at that place where that's not the case. So she kept saying that. I just told her, so, that's just the way it is. And she finally just relented and said, well, I got a friend who's just like you. And I said, oh, yeah, really? Really? Do you give them that same third degree? But no. And this right here is another thing, this American Principles Project thing, just a statement up here at the top, not this one down here in the middle, in the little image they put in here. But the idea that everyone else, I'm quoting, I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not paraphrasing, I'm saying exactly what they said here. The idea that everyone else should respect and adhere to one's preferred pronouns is extremely self-centered and narcissistic. Yeah, it is. Unless you're in a place where it is their policy to use preferred name and pronouns respectfully. And if it's an employee of that particular place that's doing that, and they know that, and here's the caveat, if they know about the policy and have been told about it, then in these organizations, they need to do exactly that, because that's where their paycheck comes from, right? But if it's somebody else who's not an employee in one of these facilities or places or wherever, then you have no right to go tell them to fix their language toward you. It's on you to be civil and respectful to others around you. It's on them to be civil and respectful to you. But you have no power to tell them, don't do that. Don't call me that. Don't do that. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking it like this. Well, look, every individual has the right to live their life as they see fit. If we believe that, if we really believe that for ourselves, then it also applies to the person standing in front of you who is saying something you don't like. Now, let's jump down to the image. That image. Transgenderism is built on narcissism. There is so much wrong with that. For the first part of it is, one, transgenderism says that you believe that we are an ideology as a people. As a group of human beings, this group here, American Principles, thinks that we are an ideology. I don't know about you, but I'm not an ideology. I have ideological beliefs and things that I have thought about, an ideological philosophy that kind of drives who I am, that's adjusted and grown over the years and changed and morphed and learned and grown. It's a constant state of growth or change, or sometimes it's just falling off the cliff. But anyway, it's like, I'm one of those, I am an establishment liberal. And that's it. I took the little test, but if I take the little quiz, if I take the quiz in a year, will I still be? I don't know. Because if you're not dead already, you're still learning and growing and, adapting to the world around you, right? And learning new things, stuff you didn't know before. I mean, if you are learning new things, you're not likely to be the same in a year as you are today. But if you are the same, well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that either. But make sure you look in the mirror and see if you're not dead. But there are people within the transgender community. There are transgender people who represent all kinds of ideological views. There are conservative transgender people, Republican transgender people. And those are ideologies like conservatism, republicanism, narcissism isn't so much. That's a little bit different. But socialism, communism, Nazism, neo-Nazism, anti-fascism or fascism or anti-Semitism. Those are ideological positions that you have decided to follow and believe in. You had a choice in going into those things and believing them. You had a choice to decide those things. We don't have a choice to be transgender. We just simply are. Just like any other group of people in the world, period. We simply are. And, get over it. Try to be decent and respectful to people. My God, here's the Heritage Foundation. Would you answer my questions? Where did these 6 million people go? Senator Ron Johnson, what's that about? Talking about people, illegal aliens in the U.S. Okay, Ron Johnson. All right. Well, I'm not even going to bother with that. As usual, refusals refuses to answer a single question about the status of the more than 6 million illegal aliens in the U.S. thanks to his orchestrated border crisis. It is not an orchestrated border crisis. The right has stirred this up to be something it is not. I'm going to tell you, was there a wall there, I don't know, 50 years ago? Has there ever been a wall there? Has there ever been one there 100 years ago? 200? I don't know, was there ever a wall there? No. However, should there be? Well, personally, I would say yes. Now, there was a time just a few short years ago when I would have said no, but I've since grown to understand that most people are not mature enough, most nations, and the people in them aren't mature enough to have open borders. As much as it actually is something that is appealing to me as somebody who grew up on science fiction, deliberately grew up on science fiction. It was something I saw, pursued, you know, the Star Trek kind, that kind of science fiction. I've always believed that that was the case, that you needed to have that. If you were mature enough as a people, you should be able to have no problem with borders being open. You just have to learn how to manage that in a certain way so that, you know, all your resources don't get gobbled up. That's crucial too. I get it. I understand it. But if there were none, then, you know, and there weren't. Anyway, where did 6 million people go? Well, they're either here or they're not. They're across the country, and you can't give an exact location because they're scattered everywhere. But I do think it's really funny whenever somebody comes out and says, we know that there were 174 people on the watch list who came to our border. I'm thinking, yeah, and your point is? Why am I not concerned about that? Does anybody have a clue as to why I would not be concerned about that? If somebody came and told me there were told you that 174 people on the watch list showed up at the border, or, you know, trying to get in the United States. Well, the thing is, you know that number because you stopped that number. You know that number because it's a number that they didn't just go, oh, that's on a checklist, click. That one's on one of those lists, we'd click. That one's on a list. No, they didn't do that. And just count them as they went across. They stopped them because that is a very specific number. And that's happened recently. Somebody used a very specific number. If they'd used a generality, a less precise number, like, I don't know, 150 or 300 or 500 or 600, approximately those things, you know, that count, then yeah, you could have an argument for the other way. But you know that if it said something like 174, that was an actual count. That means they actually stopped them. And yeah, it's not a shock, by the way. It's not a shock that they would be at the border trying to get into the United States. It's not a shock at all. Because a lot of people either hate us or love us. That's just the nature of the world. And that's the reason why I say we're not mature enough as a people, as humans on this planet. We're not mature enough to take down our sand walls on the beach. We're just these sand walls in our sand castle. We're not mature enough to actually take them down. Anyway, that's a failing on us. We have to figure out how to handle that one, right? So let's go see what else is. Oh, Lauren Boebert. Israel foreign aid bill is crafted brilliantly, and it'll be paid from $14.3 billion paid from the IRS fund. Yep. Okay, go for it. Libs of TikTok. Caption this. Why is that a problem? Anybody? Why is this a problem, folks? And I'm trying to figure out where that is. That looks really familiar to me, that location right there. Is anybody? I've seen this before somewhere. Okay. So why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? Well, okay, now I'm going, okay, caption. Here's my caption. My caption. 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 You ready? My caption. Let's see. What are we going to call it, folks? Let's say, why is that a problem? Well, my caption. All people are welcome in the military. All Americans are welcome. All Americans are welcome to serve in our military, period. There we go. Say it like that. Okay, I captioned it for you. Republicans against Trump. Okay, yeah, we know you're out there. You're just still a Republican, huh? Okay. The angry ostrich. This guy's insane. Okay, I don't know. What did he just do? Anyway, required to be arrested. Let's see. Let's take a look at it. Y'all ready?
When are you mad?
Oh, just sit back and relax, you dumbass.
Bye.
Sit back and.
All right, no, I'm not going there. All right, the dumbest generation of human beings in wokeness. Okay. You think 12-year-olds should be able to get a tattoo? It's still not your choice. What the hell do you have any business telling somebody else? If they've got permission from their family, then you have no business getting in the way of that decision. It's theirs. So, yeah, whatever you think there about that wokeness. Okay. Uh-oh. All right, so let me see something. I'm just going to say that too. Hope y'all don't mind. I'm going to say that to them. You have no right to interfere. Well, that's not how you spell it, is it? I'll just have to wait and fix it. Hold on a minute. There it is. Put an E at the end. Thank goodness for the red dash line, right? You have no right to interfere in an individual decision. Individual decision. Especially if a parent or guardian, if a parent or guardian has given permission. There we go. Okay, now I won't reply. Okay. All right. So anyway, I've spent some time scrolling through Twitter. I like going over here and just seeing who are the dummies and who are the smarter people. Literally. All right. So drop out of that. We'll go back over here, and we are back. We've got about 7 minutes to go to the top of the hour. I want to thank everyone for being here with us today. Go out and read something. Go out and study something. If you do find the time and opportunity to do so, check out Project 2025. And check that thing out, because it is atrocious. If you haven't seen that, you haven't read that, you need to. And then, as again, the big final announcement with this is I'm going to be in December. I'm going to be in D.C., Washington, D.C., November, the evening of the 19th through the morning of the 21st. That's a Sunday evening through a Tuesday morning. I'd love to meet up with anyone who is in the area. I do have one major scheduled event at this point in time. It starts at 11:30 Eastern time at the VA main office. I'll be there for that. I'm looking forward to it, to meet up with people and get to listen to acting Secretary of Defense for Readiness, Sean Skelly. I get to listen to her talk. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I'm hoping to create some meetings afterwards with a lot of the organizations around town there in DC that are associated or are closely associated in line with what we do and believe in and all that kind of stuff. Because we need to get our act together, folks. If we don't, we are going to get creamed really badly. If they get, they don't even have to get the House or the Senate next time around. And they really want to do that too. But in order to wreak the greatest damage on us, all they have to do is take over the executive branch, the presidency. Then they can go in and strip out everything they don't like. That hurts their little sensibilities, folks. And with that, look, let me just say this in closing too, though. It's not all doom and gloom. We can beat this. We can fight it. We can win these things. We can. but I can't do it alone. We can't do it one at a time. We have got to figure out a way to come together and have a strategy that it's at least as detailed as what's going on over there with the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025. That is a good roadmap to decide to follow, because they know what they're doing there, folks. They've been doing it a long time, and they learn from their mistakes. We need to do the same thing, and we can. And we just need to find a way to start talking to each other and get out of our own little boxes. All right. And with that, I hope you have a great afternoon, great evening, and come back tomorrow at noon Eastern or at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we'll do this again. We'll go through and start looking at a few things and just seeing where we can go with the conversation, y'all. So let me go back down, and we'll drop off that and go back and do one thing, and we're going to close this show out with a bang. How about that? Let me go back down here and get that music back up. Have a great one, everybody.